So there's this word floating around out there that has pretty much come to be a universal term for someone who makes bad decisions. I'm talking, of course, about foolish. I'm sure we all know someone who falls into that category. We might be the person that falls into that category. But what if I were to tell you that with your career and your dreams, making the foolish choice might just be the best decision you could make? I found myself in a position ripe for foolishness a few years ago. I had just finished a master's degree in environmental journalism at a time when my industry was going you know where. And so my rule book for a career path had gone straight out the window. So one winter evening, I'm sitting in a coffee shop in downtown Boulder with my friend Joanna, a fellow J School grad. And we're doing what girls like to do. We start daydreaming about what our lives would be like if reality weren't a factor. And before we knew it, our conversation shifted from talking about what if to how about. What if to how about. So we came up with a dream project, and our mission was this. We were going to look for an endangered species that needed media attention and wasn't getting it. And then we would use our skills in journalism to shine the spotlight on this animal. So we considered a few different candidates, but we eventually came across this little guy. He's called a fishing cat. And there's only about 2,500 of them left. We heard about a Thai biologist named Pasana Namphon Cutter, who had found a small population of fishing cats living in villages just a few hours south of Bangkok. Now, she and her team of locals and students were up against one of Thailand's biggest, most powerful industries, shrimp farming. And I don't know if you know this, but Thailand is actually the #1 supplier of shrimp to the United States. So we thought, perfect, we found our dream project, we're gonna make this happen, and with that, Cat in Water was born. Now, never mind that Thailand is half a world away from Boulder. We had no money, foolish. We didn't speak Thai, foolish, although we did learn how to say, Chuai Duai, which means help me, and Mai Pet, which means not spicy, both very helpful terms in Thailand. We also didn't know how to camera trap, which is a situation where you take your own picture. So there's this kind of camera trap, which scientists use, and then this kind. It has a few more parts. And it helps us to get photos like this. This is a mountain lion that I photographed at my friend's house in Boulder. We also didn't have any outlets, foolish. We didn't have any audience, foolish, and no one even really knew what a fishing cat was. I mean, fishing cats don't even really know what they are. They like to swim and bark like a dog. That's Sushi. He's reminding me he wants me to talk to you guys about labels. So, the words behind me are all terms that have been used in one way or another to describe women. And these are all very admirable qualities to have as a human being. But one thing that all of these terms tend to have in common is that they obliterate foolishness. If you're foolish in any of these roles, you're likely headed for trouble. But if you really think about it, a lot of our biggest decisions in life require no small amount of foolishness. We're embracing it all the time. I mean, how many of us really know what we're getting into when we say yes to marriage or buying that house or that big job or definitely having kids? But one place we're not embracing foolishness is in the workplace. So I did this little Google search. I searched the phrase, women need to be more adventurous, something I associate very closely with foolishness. And the first 5 pages of results that came up were almost entirely stories about how women need to be more adventurous in bed. Now, I'm sure that would make for a very entertaining TED Talk, but that is not the angle we're going for here. So, Joe and I decided we're going to embrace our foolishness. We did a little Kickstarter campaign, and raise enough money to pack our bags, leave snowy Boulder, and promptly fly to Bangkok during the worst flooding in 50 years. Once I got there, I was feeling pretty hot, so I drank a fruit smoothie. And that's the worst kind of foolishness you can get into. No matter how hot you are in Thailand, just step away from the fruit smoothies. So a lot of drugs later, and I was feeling a bit better, Joanna and I promptly followed this guy, dressed in camo, wielding a machete, into a swamp infested with deadly king cobras. All in search of this animal that there aren't very many out there to find in the first place. But what's important to remember is that in this case, foolish means knowingly not knowing what you are doing and deciding to do it anyway. With Cat and Water, we had no idea what we were getting into, but we were going to do it no matter what. Because the how isn't important. The how is always changing anyway. And if you knew the how, you'd probably decide you'd rather stay home watching reruns of Friends and eating cake. If I had known that I was going to go deeply into debt, that in my fruit smoothie haze I would find a scorpion in the toilet, and later on a giant beetle in my boot, after I'd put my foot in it, I would have opted for the cake. But foolishness allows you to not only have that big dream, it allows you to actually take that first step, which is absolutely vital. So what does foolish get you? Well, for us, it got us to Thailand twice, where Joe and I made a lot of new friends, and we learned how to camera trap. By the end of our first trip, we came away with some pretty cool photos of a fishing cat named Rippier. And later on our second trip, we got this photo of a fishing cat named Kaitun, who has the decidedly foolish name meaning steamed egg. Being foolish allowed us to become invisible. We were so clumsy and foolish, no one could take us seriously for very long, so the team was like, those girls, they're kind of weird, but they're harmless. So we could just go wherever we wanted. And we were able to tag along for all the moments of discovery and success and learning, and those moments of failure. This is a shrimp farm that's just gone in the same location as that previous photograph. And later on, a fishing cat that was shot by an unknown villager. But being foolish allowed us to stay optimistic even in these times of trial. And remember that no matter what, there's this hardy team out there fighting for this small creature. Being foolish allowed us to build that audience. The whole time we were out there, we were blogging. We're working on a short film now, and National Geographic has just invited us to blog for them, giving us a mini blog solely dedicated to fishing cats. We found new collaborators, some who sent us back to Thailand, others who generously gave of their own finances to rent fishing cat habitat. And the Wild Foundation flew Namfon and I both to Spain this last October, where we got to co-present 4 times in front of an international conservation audience. And I get to be on stage with you guys here today. I mean, that's something other people get to do, right? You can all be up here. So being foolish, best of all, allowed us to participate in growing that sense of wonder and to show the people of Samaraeod in Thailand that we were proud and grateful that they had the fishing cat. We had a great time doing it. That machete-wielding guy from earlier became one of our best friends in Thailand. And it led to our most foolish dream yet, that we want to provide the fishing cats with a wetland. And we're just foolish enough to think we can actually do it. None of this would have happened if we had been wise. Being foolish gave us the courage to keep going even when all logic dictated that we should stop. Steve Jobs once said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." And that's what I wish for all of you. So remember those words I brought up earlier? Remember those, embrace them, have them in your life, but make more room for foolishness, especially in the workplace. But no matter what, above all else, if I can teach you nothing, is to always, always remember to turn your boots upside down. Thank you.